Okay, so today I would like to share the story in between me and my horse Cleo. The reason why I would like to share more information about us is because very often people think that everything went easy and everything went smooth, while in reality, the opposite is true. So first of all, here you can see a little video of the horse I'm speaking about. So first things first, it's going to be a long story. It's going to be an intense story. But yeah, let's begin with the beginning. So we met each other when I was working for a company where I was guiding people on horseback in the south of Belgium. And so if you want to know more about the story, you can see one of the previous videos where I explain more, how I started with horses and how I came to the point I am today. But yeah, I was working for this company, and so Cleo was staying in that location. And so she was a very complex, very difficult horse. Nobody rode her because she just went completely crazy, and I can say really completely crazy. So in the beginning, I was still, I mean, I'm still young, but I was even younger in those days. So I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the know-how how to, really train the horses in a proper way. And I thought it was kind of, being the cowboy, it was kind of interesting, just to jump on the horse and see how it goes, which for sure today I think it's a bit ridiculous, but it's, how people grow and develop. But yeah, just to say she was really, very difficult. She really had to jump on the horse. She couldn't stand still. And even while riding, she couldn't walk. She always went in trot or gallop on the spot. So yeah, very, very stressed just because she's been trained by those people in a very bad way. She's completely traumatized. Anyway, the moment that the guy was gonna divorce his wife, and so the company came to stop, I went back home to my parents' place, and I decided to start my own company also to guide people on horseback through nature. And so, because the company came to stop, the guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, if you want, you can have the horse," because yeah, it's impossible. Because yeah, it's impossible to because yeah, it's impossible to sell her. It's impossible to give her away because everybody's just afraid to ride her, and it's also just kind of dangerous. So obviously, for me, I saw it as a beautiful opportunity to really grow and learn and start training a horse that was just very complex. So I was able to go to the person. I went to pick her up. I went back home, and this is where our whole journey began. So to give you a bit of an example how difficult she was in the beginning, she was kind of calm if you did groundwork or if you went on a walk just with a halter. Then she was really very relaxed because that was not the trauma, that was not the origin of the problem. The problem came in existence the moment you put a saddle on and you wanted to really start riding. And to give an example how bad it was, the moment you put your foot in the stirrup, she completely went difficult. She came so much in her own mind that she reared up. And because she was so much in her own zone, she just fell backwards on the saddle, on her back. So yeah, just completely traumatized. So like I said, I didn't really know, how to deal with it. So I tried by making many mistakes, and I thought I've learned many, many things just because of her. So after a while, once again, being a bit of a cowboy, I was still able to get on. I started riding her, and I was thinking, she was so stressed and she was so nervous. So I tried to be calm, but it didn't really function. I tried many different things, but it never really went to work. She was just always going, going, going. So one day, and even before, another story. So in the beginning, even when I rode her, the moment I pulled on the reins and I tried to really hold her in a bit, same principle. She became so crazy she couldn't stand on the spot that once again she reared backwards and just fell on her back, on me, on my leg. So completely traumatized. So I said, hey, let's maybe go for a long gallop. If I go for a long gallop, then maybe she becomes a bit calmer, the energy will go away, and maybe she will be able to relax after. So that's what I did. And so in the beginning, even just by walking, very often she was always moving her head around, and the foam was green, just like because of the stress, she was foaming, foaming, even without a bit, just even with the bitless bridle, still there was so much foam. So I was always completely green just because of the green foam. So when I thought, hey, let's go for a gallop, I had like a long trail in front of me. And so I went for a gallop. I went all the way back. And while making this gallop, she was completely stressed, foaming, foaming. As I came to the end, she didn't change. So I turned around, same principle. Maybe if I go a bit longer, maybe she will stop. And she kept going. I arrive again at the end, turn around, and once again, I tried it over again. And so the foam being from green turned red. So she was so much biting on her teeth and on her lips and stuff that she just started bleeding. So that's how traumatized she was. And then I realized, I came to the point like, hey, with this horse, I can literally go for hours. There is no way that she will stop. It's only going to become worse. And this is the type of horse that will literally just fall down and just die on the spot because I would ask too much. So very valuable lesson. So obviously this is something I didn't do anymore after. And so I started training and I learned a bit more and till one day I came to a huge realization for me as a person. I was riding her so often and I tried everything I could, like literally being calm, this gallop, I mean, many different approaches. Till one day I came to the point like, hey, listen, to be honest, I don't even care so much about it anymore. If you want to be stressed, if you want to do your thing, then just go ahead. I really don't care anymore. And so what happens, horses that are stressed, but like really, really stressed, it's very exhausting and it's very tiring. You know, you can be stressed for maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes, but very intense stress. There is always going to be a moment of calmness, maybe 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds before they start stressing once again, right? So in the moment of this calmness, 5, 10 seconds long, if I'm in the same zone as her, because I'm thinking, how can I help you? What can I do to make it better? Yeah, then she doesn't have a reference point because I'm just as stressed as her. So she just keeps going and she doesn't know any better. While if I'm able, on that point that I came, that I was saying like, hey, I really don't care anymore, just do your thing. In this 5 or 10 seconds, and that she came back to reality in a way, she felt like how my being was detached from the stress. And she felt like, wow, it's actually better to be in this zone than going through this whole phase that I'm in today. And so what came to point is like after half an hour, 45 minutes of stress, and then having 5, 10 seconds calmness, it started shifting. The 45 minutes came 40 minutes, and the 5, 10 seconds became 15, 20 seconds of calmness. And then it came to 30 minutes, and then it became 1 minute calmness. 25 minutes huge stress, and then maybe 3, 4 minute calmness. And so after a while, she really started feeling like, wow, it's easier and better for me to just be in his zone than, making this whole trauma going on. And so that's why I really came to the realization that for me, it's very important the way how we write them, because we are the reference point. They're very sensitive to our being. And yeah, that was just a huge lesson. So we came to the point that after a while, she really started relaxing, and then she was still a bit stressed. Trotting and galloping was too early, but at least walking was perfectly fine. That was not a problem. So that was one of the first very important lessons that I've learned with her. And so, I mean, like I said, she was a little bit stressed. We were not at the point yet, but at least we had a bit of an improvement already. And so one of the things that also happened between us is like one day we really went to just to show a couple of things that people know that if you want to go with a horse and you want to have experience, if you go through a lot of difficulties, those are always the best things to grow towards each other. Like huge, believe me. So that's why I'm sharing this. So one day I was, riding her, and it was during the winter, and so very often through the forest there was a river passing by. And so during the summer months, it was not too bad. We always went there because one day there was really a lot of rain. It was like a big storm coming. And so the river became a bit higher than normal. So I said, hey, it's going to be still fine. We crossed here so many times. And so I wanted to cross the river, and the water was really almost till the knees, let us say. It depends what kind of points, maybe a bit less, but still kind of high. And so while getting out of the river was kind of a steep bank, and so she slipped a bit and fell backwards back in the water. The problem is that the surface, the ground of the river was kind of muddy, So for her, it was very difficult to get up again. So she was very, yeah, really, how to say this in English, struggling to get out of water. So I really went even, I got some straw in my hair from feeding. So she was trying to really get out of the water. She tried once. She once again tried out of the bank, but once again she tripped, fell in the water. She was able to get up again, and then she went, to the other side of the river, but there is no way to get out. So she went walking, she became super exhausted. Because of exhaustion, she fell once again in the water. And then you can really feel how her body was just becoming stiff just because of the coldness. It was like really almost freezing. And so I tried to pull on the reins and I tried to get her out of the water, but she almost gave up. So I said, "Hey, this is not not gonna happen." I went to the forest. I went out of the water, took a huge stick. I went back in the water. I said, "Hey, now you have to go." And I really hit even on the hip, because otherwise, I mean, it would have been not possible. And because of this intention, I say, "Hey, now it's enough. One more try." She fell like, "Whoa!" And the energy once again, she gave it a try. Stood up, went to the other side, and then she was able to get out of the water. Out of the water, you can just, it was like a block of concrete, it's like completely stiff. So I could get on her as fast as possible to start trotting a bit. So she was able to get warm. I went to the pasture, put the saddle away, drove as fast as I could back home, get some towels, and I started cleaning her, drying her up. And she was able to push through. So kind of an interesting experience. Um, Another very interesting thing that happened between us is with her. So I was, getting to the point. She was getting calm and relaxed. So I was also starting guiding those people on horseback. So I said, hey, if I use her as my personal trail horse, if I do this more often, then she will get used of riding and the other horses and the people. So it's going to be a good way for her to really calm down. And so I rode her very often until one day, for some kind of reason, one of the horses bit her in the schoft. I don't know what's the name in English. You have the back and then the front point, where the saddle is leaning on. A really very strong bite. So strong that I even have to call the vet to really even sew it up. And so because of this, I was not able to ride her for a couple of weeks. Um, yeah, I was not able to ride her for a couple of weeks. And so I took another horse and continued working. And then one day, the vet came again for a checkup. And so when he did the checkup, he said like, "Hey, is your horse not? It seems like she's pregnant. She had a bit of a belly, but not that much. I thought she was just because of not working, maybe, became a bit bigger. But you can see really at I don't know what's the name of in English once again, just where the milk comes out. I said that would be, kind of strange, but it could be possible because where she came from, all the stallions and the mares were just standing on a huge pasture all together. So it's like natural breeding. So say maybe we will see. And so shortly after, I think 2 or 3 days after, she gave birth to a little stallion named Aiden. So, what I personally think is super interesting is how can it be that the horse got bit just a couple of weeks before? If I would not have known, I would have keep riding her, which is always not obviously not the best thing for a horse that's pregnant. So this shows once again how perfect life is. It's unbelievable. Everything always happens for a reason. So yeah, beautiful experience. So she gave birth. I took her really for a long time. She had a break to really raise the foal and take it nice and calm. And then after a while, I started reconnecting with her as a person. I was developing, I was growing, I had more knowledge, I had more experience. And then I came to the point to really start riding my horses with the neck rope and without the saddle. And because she was so sensitive, and because she was so wait, let me just take a look. Okay. And because she was so sensitive and she because so much in the moment. Yeah, sorry, there was something with my laptop. Because she was so sensitive and so much in the moment, she's like one of the best horses to really start learning in liberty. In my opinion, it's always easier with a very sensitive horse if you know a bit what you're doing, because the response when you give an action, when you give a signal, is just much faster, much more intense, and much more pure. So I was training her. She taught me really all the basics without in liberty work, how to use my body, how to give the signals. So I'm very grateful that that she came in my life, that she was able to teach me these kind of things. And then I came to the point that I made a beautiful video, as you can saw in the beginning of this, yeah, of this. What am I doing here? An interview, not an interview, but the video. I made a video with her that I rode her in Liberty outside in the street. And because of this video, I was able to really travel the world because the video went viral and I was able to share my knowledge in many different countries, like how to improve the connection with horses and how to really ride them in Liberty. So everything happened because of Cleo, my horse that I am today at the point I am today. So yeah, this being said, for sure, very grateful for this. And then afterwards, so I really rode her very often. I came to this point. Afterwards, we bought a property in the south of Belgium, so we moved there. And then we come to another very interesting point. So while being there, I also have another horse, Kilimanjaro, which I will also make a video about soon after. So with Kilimanjaro, I bought him to really do liberty, but in dressage. So to make a bit more in tune, a bit more sensitive, a bit more balanced. And so that was the whole purpose why I purchased him. So I was speaking to a person and I said like, hey, with Cleo, I really feel at the moment, that the chapter between us is finished. I learned what I had to learn. Our connection is very good. Now it's really time that she takes a break and I'm going to really concentrate myself on my other horse, Kilimanjaro. When I spoke this out, is the first time I thought about it, but I never spoke it out. The moment I spoke it out and I went to sleep, the moment after I went to the pasture to see the horses to feed them. And when I approached Cleo, it's like she was almost not there anymore. Physically, she was still present, but mentally, it felt like she was already gone. Most strange experience that I probably ever had with her. So I said, what's happening here? So I went close to her. I tried to feel. Very strange. I was very worried. So I called the vet and said, hey, you have to come and take a look. Something's wrong with my horse. And so when the vet came, you can really see in his eyes, like, oh, that's kind of a bad scenario. But like always, everything happens for a reason. So I try to reflect, okay, what's the reason? What's the message that I can learn in this given moment? So I look in her eyes, and when I looked in her eyes, I really felt that I made a mistake. Even now thinking about it, I'm still kind of emotional. When I looked in her eyes, I just felt very clearly it's not finished between us once and not at all. Okay. So when I spoke it out, for her, it's like, okay, then there's no more reason for me to be here. So it's like she was already leaving. So I looked in her eyes, I apologized, and I said, hey, I made a very big mistake. There is still many things that I can learn from you. So let's get over it, and I will make sure that I adapt myself. And very crazy. It take maybe, before you can pull on the halter, she was not listening at all, completely gone. After this insight, when I spoke it out in between us, it took maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I had the halter, I tried to pull her. She put one foot, but she was so still not gone. And she fell on the ground, stood up again. But you can see at least that the energy was coming back. Another 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and you can just see that she slowly but surely started walking. And maybe after half an hour, it's like almost nothing happened. It's a very special experience. So yeah, this understanding, I said, okay, I really have to learn something important now. So it's not much about riding anymore because he really came to the point. It's like, what does my horse really represent? What can I really, really learn from her if I integrate her being? And so she's like, in that moment, now I have another insight, which I will share after. But she's like very soft, she's very sensitive, she's very good on her own. Um, and so very often I'm kind of harsh on myself. She's feminine, I'm masculine, so she can really teach me much more about the feminine aspect. So yeah, it was very helpful to really have this insight and dive a bit deeper in the bigger lesson that she had to offer me instead of writing and all the other things. So yeah, huge insight. I tried to really reflect more, and she really taught me many things about that topic. And then afterwards, as you can see, the story continues. Afterwards, I decided to stop my professional activity as a horse trainer for a while. And so I sold the property. I broke up with my previous partner, and I decided to walk with my two horses to the south of France. On this journey, it was very interesting. It taught me many different insights, but it was also very stressful because, I was kind of exhausted, to be honest, and I just wanted to be in the south of France. And so what happened during this journey, even if I had many beautiful days, many beautiful encounters, very good insights, still there was always a bit of stress involved that I wanted to arrive at the place. And so during this walk, it's like 2 months, 2 months and a half, being next to each other, because very often on this journey, I don't really ride them that often. It's I walk most of the time next to them because it's kind of exhausting. You really become one. You really, you're equals. So I know that they're very exhausted. I'm exhausted. So it's very strange to say, okay, let me still get on your back so I can enjoy a bit more. It doesn't make sense. So I walk often next to them. So always being next to each other. And because I was so stressed or so much in the future, she always felt this. And so she was always a little bit, a bit worried and a bit stressed. She also wanted to be every day at the location. So for her, it was not the best experience to make this journey together. It was not bad, but it was not, the best solution. So we arrived in France. I was able to put them at a very good friend of me, my sister. I always call her like my sister. Uh, she's not really my sister, but just in between us. And so she was standing at her home for a couple of months because I had to go back to Belgium to take care of all the paperwork. And so I think she was even staying there for a year, even 2 years, I think, having just a break because I had to go through a lot of things myself. And so then I came to the point, the realization that I wanted to start guiding people on horseback in Switzerland. Also another story. Maybe one day I'll explain a bit better. But yeah, I came to this realization. So I found a beautiful place in Switzerland. So I moved my horses to Switzerland. And so the plan was to guide people on horseback through the beautiful mountains. So we can really connect with horses, we can connect with ourselves and nature. So it's like full package. And so normally I promised my horse Cleo that I was never gonna ride anymore after. It was like a break, it's like it's we can still learn from each other, but not so much about riding. Now, an interesting thing happened. I was able to use a couple of horses also from some friends to start guiding those people, because obviously we need the horses to really, do the job. But something happened, and so one or two horses were not available anymore to, yeah, do the guidance. And so I came to the point like, hey, okay, I don't have another option. Maybe I have to use my horse Cleo to really, go on this adventure. Even if I made this promise between us, I felt like I didn't really have the choice. And so here the interesting thing happened. We move all the horses up to very high up in the mountains. We bring them on the Alp. And I was having Cleo on a halter. Mother horse Kilimanjaro was in Liberty behind. So I bring them. We still had to put like a little fence just for a couple of weeks until we really open up the big spot. And so my horse Kilimanjaro was staying behind. So I put Cleo on the pasture. I go back to get my other horse. And while I was getting my other horse, I came back. For some kind of reason, she wanted to climb up something. She tripped, fell on her back, and she had a huge injury on her leg, a huge injury on her back, and she was completely crippled. But like really bad. It's not like we cannot ride anymore for sure. And instantly I knew once again, this is a huge signal of life. I made the wrong decision. I knew it was not good to do it, but I felt like I didn't have a choice. And so life was saying like, no, now it's enough. You made a promise, and this is not gonna happen. So yeah, it was not possible. I apologized once again to Cleo. So as you can see, she has a lot of compassion with me and patience. So I apologize and say, hey, sorry, I have my insight here. So I used another horse for the job, which is also I stopped it very fast. Also another story, maybe another time. But so yeah, I came to the realization, okay, there's no more thing of riding. Just take it easy. It's just between us, nice and calm. So in the beautiful time in Switzerland, everything was good. Very beautiful insights. The people love to really be on the spot to connect with horses without any methods and techniques, but to really be in their presence and just learn from them from a different perspective. So yeah, we were in Switzerland, and then we did this 2 years. I even think about something now. So as you can see, it's kind of a long story, but we're almost at the end. We moved our horses because Switzerland is a beautiful country. We have a beautiful property high up in the mountains, but we cannot stay there during the winter months because there is too much snow. So Switzerland, because it's such a small country, it's very difficult to put your horses during the winter months. And even if you find a property, it's very, very expensive if you don't have your own space. So we decided to find a place at the border of France where there's much more space, when there is much more possibility for horses to be in big herds, and it's also much cheaper. So we brought them there, but there was a season with really a lot of bad weather, and so they didn't really had such a good shelter, and so she had like a huge. I don't know what's the name in English, but like this kind of fungus on her back. It's like one big crust. I said, yeah, that's not possible. So we went to go and pick them up, find another solution in Switzerland, which was also not ideal, but at least she was a bit better. So once again, she went through a huge thing. So she's for sure a tough one. And so once again, another summer season in Switzerland. And now we found a beautiful place here in France temporarily, because at the moment we're trying to find, for our project Casa for Humanity, a beautiful big project. But at the moment, yeah, need to have some patience. But so we arrive now in this location here, and now I really even dive a bit deeper in connection. And so I spoke before that she's very soft and feminine, but I came to the realization that one of her biggest strengths is that she's very, very good on her own. She doesn't have she's very good in the group, but she's very independent. She's like the leading mare. She goes everywhere, and the horses very often follow her. So she's very authentic. She really is good with herself, and she doesn't care so much what other people or horses think. And so this is for me a very good lesson to learn because I really love people. I'm always surrounded by people, and sometimes I have the habit to lose myself while helping other people. So by being in her presence, she's teaching me how to really be good with myself, help others, but without losing myself in this process. So yeah, that's the thing that we are today. So soon, in the next 2 weeks, no, yeah, month and a half, we go back to Switzerland for another season there. At the moment, we move the horses back and forward, which is also not ideal. But the moment we have a good location in France, then maybe 2 or 3 horses we bring to Switzerland once in a while. But the main goal is to really have one home for them, so they don't have so much change going on, and that they can really relax. So at the moment, also my horse, I thought she was 21, but because I'm not so much of a thing with age, I don't care so much about it. Also personally, I have a bit of a different perspective there. But I recently just looked in her book, and apparently she's already 23. She's 2 years older than I thought. So she's a tough one and a soft one at the same time. She's teaching me many, many things. Our journey is not even close from finished. I know that I still have a lot of things to learn from her. So yeah, very grateful for all the lessons that we've been through together. And yeah, I can really honestly say I am today because of her in many, many different ways. So this is my journey between Cleo. Soon I will make another video with my horse Kilimanjaro, and hopefully it was inspiring for you guys to see that by going through difficulties, the connection improves even much deeper because you have obstacles and you have to go through them together, you know? So I hope I can inspire you guys to see it is not always easy and smooth. It's the opposite. But this is not bad. It's a big advantage. So I hope you can enjoy. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.